This is Author Conversations, the Stenhouse Publishers podcast about our authors, their work, and topics in education. In this podcast, Peter Johnston talks about how teachers are often held back by the fear of mistakes or not doing things the right way. The author of Choice Words and Knowing Literacy also wrestles with praise and the use of the word smart with students.
I think that there are a number of things that we should, perhaps, that I'd emphasize when you're working with coaches. One of them is the whole business of how people understand about errors, about making errors in teaching and so forth. People are deathly afraid of making mistakes. And I think part of a coach's job is kind of to encourage people to make mistakes and think about what they can learn from them. And it's the fear of mistakes that stops people from trying new and interesting things. And the other fear is the concern for doing things right. And this is part of like the latter sections of Choice Words, is the whole business of knowledge being conditional and knowledge being made by people. So there's no right way to do it. It's the feeling that there really is a right way and I may be messing up that stops people. And you can't do that with teaching. I mean, I look at Mary Coey's book, Ants and Buddhists, and Andy Cunningham. These are two teachers who are just doing, I think, amazing things. And but they're different. And neither of them could do the same. And the sheer idea that we would want everybody to do the same is somehow absurd. And so I think that whole piece of the thing transfers right over, getting people, not to be constipated about, gosh, I'm not doing the right thing, I'm not doing it right, and so forth. Just to think, what am I doing? What can I learn from it? Yes, I'm going to make mistakes. Great. Yes, there are going to be problems. Great. Good. It would be boring if there were none, It would be time to move on to another grade level or whatever to actually make it more interesting. So I guess those are some of the things. I think working with, in terms of coaching and so on, the same sort of things operate in terms of the collective conversations that we have, the possibility of disagreeing amicably and learning from those disagreements, not trying to convince people to do it right, but to get people trying new things, comparing notes, thinking about what went well, why they think it went well, trying something different again, and so forth. And I think those are the same sort of principles that I dealt with in Choice Words. There are some things that I haven't dealt with in that book that I will deal with in an upcoming book that have to do with praise, which I think is a very tricky thing, and the ways we think about people as being kind of fixed, as being a particular kind of people, the ways we think about and imply that intelligence is something that you have or we don't have, and how that actually gets in our way. And it's interesting, I listen to, I don't like the word, smart, because it tends to imply that in the common ways we talk about it. And I listen to Debbie Miller, whose work what I really like about Debbie is she's so obviously completely present for the kids, which you also see in you've got the videos for that. You hear that in the books, in Andy Cunningham and Mary Coey's books. You can feel that as well. And she uses the word, and a lot of people use the word smart, but there's an interesting twist to it that I'm not sure about yet, and I'm still thinking about, and that is that they say, that's so smart to do. And I think that's not quite the same as saying, you're so smart. But I'm sort of thinking about that and how people take that, because it would be problematic, I think, if kids, I know it's problematic if kids think of smartness as being something that people have more or less of and they compare on, because it will trip up a bunch of kids in their learning, and it will not prepare them well for being the upstarts we need in a democracy.
If you'd like to learn more about Peter's work, check out his books Choice Words and Knowing Literacy, available through Stenhouse or your Stenhouse distributor. Thanks for listening.